From the FSU College of Law, I'm Alva Striplin.
And I'm Jeff Kahn.
Whether you're thinking about law school or are in law school and have no idea what's next or how you're going to get there, we're here to help.
From deciding what classes to sign up for as a 2L or hoping for that key internship that will lead to the next big thing, these students are
taking care of business. Today's guest is a 3L here at the FSU College of Law. She went to undergrad at University of South Florida, and fun factoid from her resume, apparently she speaks Arabic. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Welcome to the show, Allaa Tayeb.
Thank you for having me.
We're so glad you're here. So tell me a little bit about your background. Where are you from, and how did you actually get to FSU Law, Tallahassee?
So I grew up in Tampa, but my family's from the Middle East, so I consider that my second home. I went to undergrad at USF, and I double majored in English with a concentration in creative writing and humanities, film, and media studies. And I kind of always wanted to be a writer of some sorts, but kind of in my last year of undergrad, I felt a calling to do something that involved more people. And I decided I want to go to law school. I ended up in Tallahassee because FSU was honestly the best school as far as people. Everyone I spoke to was so nice, very inviting, always willing to answer questions. I loved all the professors, and it just felt like I could be here for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I ended up in Tallahassee.
Where else did you apply, if you don't mind me asking? What were the other possibilities out there?
So I narrowed it down at the end to Emory, UF, and here.
Good choice. We support this. We support that choice. You made the best choice for sure.
I think so too.
So Middle East, very interesting. Do you go back there with your family?
So my mom is Palestinian and my dad is from Jordan, but I've only ever been to Jordan, so I do go back sometimes.
Okay. Long trip, I would imagine.
13 hours.
So do you stay for a while when y'all go visit? Do you still have family there?
Yeah, we have a lot of family there, so we stay for a long time, just so we can do everything. Dead Sea, Petra.
Wow. How many times have you been?
Not many. Maybe 2 or 3.
Okay. So I guess that's where the speaking Arabic comes from.
Well, my parents I'm first generation, so I wouldn't say my English was my first language, but so was Arabic. It was kind of like a fusion of the two.
Growing up in your home, they spoke both.
Yes.
Now, were your parents fluent in English when you were born?
Yeah, my parents are fluent in English.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I think that is very cool. I would dare say there aren't many law students here that speak Arabic. So
not a lot. I haven't encountered a lot.
So any other lawyers in the family, or are you going to be the first?
I'm going to be the first on both sides of my family.
Big congratulations. I know they must be very proud.
Very proud.
Good. And tell me, in your words, what is business law and why did you choose it?
I think business law is a super broad term, which I struggle to fully define because I think it encompasses so many different areas of law, which I think is why I liked it so much. My first encounter with business law was in privacy and data protection with Professor Linford. I took the class on a whim, and I ended up falling in love with it. I thought it was the most interesting topic I'd encountered in law school. And from there, I started to do more research, and I learned, business law has employment law and tax law and corporations and so many different things. And I liked that it was so diverse. And I felt like there was never going to be a point where I was bored, which is really important to me. And I think just privacy law was the one thing that really drove it home for me. And that's kind of what I want to do.
Can you describe privacy law? What is that?
Also, I think really broad because there's health privacy, there's data protection. But I think for me, I want to do something in cybersecurity, data protection. I worked last semester for a nonprofit, the Network Advertising Initiative, and they do a lot of ad tech work and advocacy for a lot of privacy rights, which I think is something I'm really passionate about. I think what drew me originally in privacy law was I never realized how much information we disclose online, and it was something I was really concerned about, and the idea of surveillance, especially given my Middle Eastern background. And so I just became very involved in the idea of it, and I think that's something that, as it's a growing field, I want to be involved in it.
And on your resume, it says you have published a piece or are publishing a piece, but not in one of the Florida journals. So what was that process like?
So I wrote that paper with Professor Linford. It's actually on a privacy topic, facial recognition technology, and why there should be a federal ban. So it's a, yeah.
Wow.
It's it was a fun thing to write, and I wanted to publish it, I think, somewhere where they did technology, they focused on technology. And so the process was pretty grueling. I sent it out to a lot of different journals and got a lot of rejections, but the University of Texas ended up picking it up, which was great because they're a really reputable journal and they focus on technology. So I think the people who read it will be really interested in it.
And so besides the rejections, did you enjoy the publication process? Do you think you'll keep writing?
I think so. I because I have a background in writing, it's something that this was a dream come true almost for me. So I was really excited to get one acceptance. And I know rejection is part of the process, but I loved writing it. I loved the excitement of just knowing it was out there and people were reading it. And so, whether they liked it or not, they were reading something that I wrote, and that's pretty cool.
And I mean, rejection is part of the process, trust me, but you only need one. That's what we always say. And you got it, and it's a great placement. Did Professor Linford really encourage you to do that, or is that something you did on your own?
No, Professor Linford was incredibly instrumental in the entire process. There were moments where I wanted to give up, and he was like, listen, this is it. I'm a professor. I've gotten rejections. This is part of the process. And it really pushed me to keep applying. And he even reached out to some journals on his own and said, hey, I have this student who wrote this really great piece. Would you be willing to take a look at it? And so he's been really great.
That's fantastic. All right, let's take, like you said, a broader approach to business law. Thinking back to some of your business classes, and you've had a few because you're doing the business certificate, which is, again, broad, but forced you to kind of take a wide range. What do you think is, beside privacy law, we're going to take that out, what do you think the most useful thing you've learned in your business classes? What do you think you're going to use your entire career?
Career, definitely tax law. And outside of my career, I think tax law.
That's the best answer I've ever heard.
I swear, Jeff, they all butter you up
No,
with this tax
it's not
law
even in my
business.
class. No, it's absolutely correct. What do you think is one of the, let's switch it. You can say the same answer because it could be a different part of tax law. What do you think is the most useless thing you've learned?
I have to be honest, I didn't understand tax law very well, but it was useful. But the most useless probably was insider trading from corporations. I probably won't use insider trading at any point.
Well, let's hope.
Hopefully not.
Let's hope you never use it. Yeah.
I loved learning about it, but I didn't see the purpose really.
Makes for a good movie, though.
That's what it was, an entertaining part.
They're always fun stories because you hear
right.
The football coach supposedly heard the story from a friend at a game, and so yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So you're working right now part-time or interning? What are you doing right now?
Right now I'm working part-time at Colescott and Cassane as a law clerk, and I'm a research assistant for a professor at the University of North Texas.
Okay. So at Colescott and Cassane, what kind of things are you working on? What interesting things have you seen?
Interesting. Right now I'm writing a motion for summary judgment, and that's the first one I've written, so I'm really excited about that. I work at the Tallahassee office, so it's a little smaller. So right now I focus on personal injury, bodily injury, a little bit of construction. Most interesting thing I've seen there. I'm kind of like a sponge, so I just soak everything up and then I forget it. But
but it sounds completely a different realm of what you really are interested in and really where it want to go with cybersecurity and privacy and technology. This is personal injury, which to me seems a completely different route. Is it good to have a varying experience from maybe what you intended or think you want to do?
I think so. I'm of the belief, because I came into law school and I had no idea what I wanted, but I also had an idea that I didn't want business law, and then I took a class in business law and I loved it. So I'm of the sort, I don't think you should ever just keep yourself in one area of law, because you never know what you might like and what you might not like. And the thing with Colescott and Cassane is it's full service, so they do everything. I just so happen to be in a smaller office, so I get a little bit less experience in those areas, but I will be working in Orlando next year, where I'll be able to work in business.
So you have an offer for a full-time position.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so where do you see yourself in 5 years? 5 years, 10 years? Where do you live? What are you doing?
Where do I live? Probably not in Florida, honestly.
Oh.
I want to take another bar exam and maybe DC or New York. These are big dreams, but working at another firm that does privacy law, cybersecurity of some sort, and then, just doing what I like, which might change, and I know that. So I don't like to tie myself down to a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan because I never know where I'll be. I didn't know that if you talked to me 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said I'd be in law school. So.
I like the word big dreams. That's a great phrase, and there's nothing wrong, and everyone should have big dreams. So I hope you hold on to those. So what advice would you give someone applying to law school?
I would say to just take a deep breath. Law school is not easy, I'm not going to lie, but it's a journey, and just like any journey, you kind of have to just take it day by day, take advantage of all the opportunities that the school offers, join journals and moot court and try out for things and make friends, because that's how you're going to stay sane in law school, and talk to your professors. I think that was my biggest regret, is not talking to enough of my professors when I should have. And then just, take a deep breath. It's not easy, but you'll make it through. I'm almost on the dawn of graduating, and I am less stressed than I was when I first entered. It's not as bad as you think it'll be.
Wonderful. Those are good words of advice. All right, time for the pop quiz. You ready?
Yes.
Super easy. Super
Got
easy.
it.
How do you take your coffee?
Lots of cream.
Lots of cream, no sugar.
No sugar.
Okay. What's your weirdest study habit? What do you do when you're studying that just is you don't really want to share with anybody?
I'm going to out myself right now, but I listen to really loud music, maybe genres that are a little terrifying. It helps me focus.
While you're studying?
Yes. And,
really?
Or TV in the background.
Okay. Do you have like your AirPods on, or you're like loud in your room kind of thing?
No. I have I'm respectful of my roommates. I don't want to scare them too much, but...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't heard that one. We haven't heard that one. That's a new one. All right. What is the one movie you could watch over and over and over and over again that just calms you?
Calms me.
Does it have to calm you? Why does it have to
No,
calm
it doesn't have to calm you. You're right. But I have like a go-to. I'll go ahead candid here. Pitch Perfect. Love it.
That's a
could
good
watch it over and over and over again.
Honestly, maybe 13 going on 30. I don't know why, but I imagine my 30s are going to be a good moment of life. So
that's a good one. And it's a little older. That's like, you were probably pretty young when that movie came out.
I don't remember when it came. I just remember having it on DVD, and I watched it all the time.
DVD, right there. You're aging. There you go. That's how old that movie is. And let's see. What's your one advice to other incoming law students? You must have this one article of clothing to survive law school. Must have, if you're short like me, a pair of heels when you're at networking events. A pair of heels. New answer.
Well, I want to ask one more question too. It's not a pop quiz, but with your expertise, what's the one piece of advice you would give somebody now that you know sort of the extent of information that's giving out, online, and if we're concerned about privacy, what's one thing somebody should do? I mean, I want to know, so that's why I'm asking, but I figure we can ask that as well, since you're the expert on it.
I wouldn't call myself an expert, but if I were, I would say just check your privacy settings on everything.
Okay.
On everything, especially Facebook.
All right.
This is terrifying to me because just this week I got an email from Coach Outlet. Your purses are on the way. I didn't order any Coach purses. And it was my name, but an address in California and a credit card, last four of a credit card that I did not recognize. So I go, my credit cards, I mean, it's so real. And when it hits you, that's when you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I change all my passwords or do I not? Like, or somebody watching me? Are they, tuned into my computer and they know that I'm going to jump all through all these hoops? So it's really disconcerting. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And I personally didn't realize it until I started taking these classes and working where I worked. And it's terrifying, but there's also a lot that you can't do. And that's kind of just what the digital age is.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, we're glad you're going into that field. We need more people just like you with big dreams going into cybersecurity.
Thank you.
Well, Allaa, we enjoyed having you today and I wish you the best of luck in your new career.
Thank you, guys.
This podcast made possible by a generous donation from Jeff and Aggie Stoops.
Special thanks to FSU College of Law's Professor Sean Bairn for creating our theme music.